What up, Shalom? It's Shan up in this thing. She Gets It podcast again. Season 5, the season of my master number. Your girl is turning 33, so I thought I'd, make my contribution with more directness, more bluntness, more of my shit. Enjoy. Well, hey guys, it's Shan. It's your girl. What's up? This is the end of season 5. Yeah, season 5. My master number. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm ripping off a new layer of who I am and who I aim to be for season 6. So this is the last episode of season 5. And it's titled Nobody Wants a Project. I was having a think session with one of my best friends, Christy, and she has this lingering dingleberry of a male who keeps randomly texting, randomly hitting up, checking in, and it's like he's doing this revolving circle of what he thinks he needs to do in life in order to have his happiness, have his peace, get better, be at, and we both said it at the same time, like, nobody wants a project. Now, not saying nobody wants a project because there's something wrong with him. He'll never be great. He'll never be good. Everybody in life has once been a project. It's growth. It's learning. It's trial and error, okay? But for people who are at the end of their 20s, going into their 30s, in their 40s and 50s, no one who is sane, who is logical, who has goals for themselves and their family and their future, ideally is picking out a person as a project. When you have people who are purposely picking out unfocused people, needing help all the time, enabled people in life, when you have people purposely going for that, it's a mirror as to who they are within themselves, okay? So if you find yourself I'm always finding the woman that's a project. I'm always finding the man that's a project. Something about you where you keep aiming for the person who is not fully complete within themselves yet. And you need to figure out what that is because it's unhealthy. But this episode is mainly about what makes a person a project, what you can do to avoid being a project to someone you might potentially care about, you might potentially love, you might potentially want to marry, you might potentially want to have children with, all of that. That's what I'm getting into. Get comfortable. I'm not a tiptoeer. I'm going to get in it, get to it, and hope you enjoy. I just want to say, for those of us who are on this support a Black business train, stay on it, be consistent, and if you're not going to stay on it, and if you're not really going to be about it, get the fuck off of it right now. Because this is not a trend, this is not a fad, this is a way of living. The fact that brown, beautiful, Black people, indigenous people were here in this United States of a fucking America that it is first And society, greed, and hatred has reversed books, scripture, text, context, whatever the fuck y'all got, to make people believe that white men on boats who didn't know how to bathe themselves discovered land here. Is ridiculous. And when we in turn have to turn around and pay y'all fucking taxes and take care of your fucking children and not be seen as good enough or great enough or worthy or deserving is fucking beyond me. So if you're going to support a black business, promote a black business, keep it consistent. If you're hiring people who are certified excellence in diversity among a workplace, cool. You should have had them there already. But we gonna babysit this shit. So if you're gonna do it, cool. Nike, if you want to make Juneteenth, 19th of June, a holiday for your workers and shit, cool. Should have been a holiday already. Federally, nationally, worldwide. Okay? I want it to be consistent. I don't want it to be for now. I want it to be forever. Stop keeping black greatness in the dark. Stop keeping children in fear, trying to grow up and have their best life. They should have their best life now. Usually I would share a black business or put in a podcast that I like right now, but I just felt like that needed to be said, and so I said it. And I hope you guys enjoy the last episode of season 5, my master number. I enjoyed you guys. I enjoyed your feedback, and let's just get into it. A project chick. Y'all remember that song? I need a project chick. We talking about projects. We talking about human beings who are involved in life with people who have figured out their purpose, people who have figured out their passion, people who have done the work, okay? We talking about people who have not done their work on themselves, but are very eager to latch on to the work of another human being, for the pros of being within a relationship. And we got to stop doing that. And a few things that we have to focus on when it comes to avoiding being someone's project as a human being are easy. I could point them out. We have self-care. That's for you. That's not for someone else to dictate, make you do, force you to do. Your ego, financial, superficial priorities, and your core. All right, so let's go over how to not be a project of self-care. Okay, so within self-care, I have your physical care of what people see, what people hear, what people smell, what people feel. what people may taste, okay? And everybody don't need to be tasting you. But if somebody is, it is your duty to be clean. It is your duty to present yourself in the best way. It is your duty to take care of your health. It is your duty to take care of what goes into your mind. It is your duty to take care of your emotions, okay? If you are having issues with people critiquing you to teach you, you should not be looking to be in a relationship with another person. If you're having issues and insecurities about your looks, your hair, your teeth, your breath, your body, maybe that is you telling you that, hey, we need to focus on us right now. We do not need to be dating. We do not need to be flooding someone's DMs with pictures of what we do like about ourselves and hiding parts of ourselves that we don't like. We don't need to be on Tinder. We don't need to be going to the club and being in front of people's faces in the dark. But when the lights go on, we scram like roaches. Maybe that's something you don't need to be doing, okay? Because no one is going to benefit from an incomplete creation, an incomplete great idea, okay? Unless you're a mad scientist and you are a science project. And if you are a science project, someone is going to love piecing you together, okay? But what that mad scientist doesn't know, when you're piecing people together in a relationship so they can be a better person for you, you might piece them together, and once they get together, they grab their things and they get the hell out of your way. And they go on to be better for someone else. You owe it to yourself to be your own project. I have no problem with people being their own project, making themselves better for themselves first, making sure they're sure about who they are first. Check your physical self first. Check your mental self first. Check your emotional self first. If you cannot watch a commercial about dogs without breaking down and having a semi-panic attack, in tears, in sadness, and heavy emotion, maybe you focusing on finding someone in life to be with you, to love you, to honor you, to take care of you, to pour into you emotionally, mentally, physically. That should not be your focus. Your focus is you. Your focus is finding out why you're so emotional, why you're so dramatic, why seeing this thing over here gets you so angry, why your manager cannot talk to you about, your performance for the last 3 months without you in the office having a breakdown and a panic attack. Maybe that's something you need to be seeking help with from your family, from your friends, or from a therapist before seeking a relationship. A lot of people do not do the self-care steps within themselves first before they invite other people into a relationship situation. And we have to stop doing that because that doesn't help us be better. It doesn't, it's not fair to the next person who is not equipped or ready to pour into you in a way where it can be healthy. And then what happens is if you have someone who's incomplete and is a project with someone who did the work on themselves and understand that I do have flaws and I've worked on them. I've identified them. I work on them every day consistently, but I'm still working on them. I can't fully 100% help you, completely, because I'm still working on my thing, okay? And then what happens is some people sacrifice the work that they didn't finish within themselves to help someone who hasn't started doing the work because they're blind to it, or nobody brought it to their attention, or they don't want to face the funk that is them. And then you start to chip away at yourself and all the work that you've done because you have so much bitterness, because all you're trying to do is help this person get better, but they're not helping themselves be better. So be mindful of the people you choose and the people you allow to get your energy. And if you are seeking a person to be with in a relationship, in a marriage, and a whatever ship you need, make sure that they're at a point where they can match you with the work that you've done on yourself regarding self-care. Okay? So that was physical, mental, and emotional. Let's go to the ego. Check the ego. The ego. All right. Some people are projects in regards to ego. That can be nobody ever humbled them in life. Nobody ever showed them that your life can be up here, your life can be in the middle, and your life can be down here. Regardless of where your life is and how much money you do have and how many opportunities you are given, you should be humble on all levels. There is always going to be someone better than you. There is always going to be someone with more money than you. There is always going to be someone who commands a room better than you, who can do your job better than you, who can probably come through faster than you, okay? But you have to be humble, okay? Life humbles those who understand that you have to be the best you. You cannot be the best Michael Jordan. You cannot be the best LeBron James. You cannot be the best on the football field of whatever player that's already there. That's already taken. What are you going to do? What are you bringing to the table of your life individually? Okay? You have to understand that first and foremost. You have to understand that just because you walking around with whatever piece of metal you got, don't mean the car that you pass up the street being extra raw-ish don't have bigger, better tools than what you're carrying. You have to humble yourself. Your life can change in a flip second. You cannot be out here in these ignorant streets with an ego bigger than a killer whale. It's just not going to work for you, okay? It's not going to be in your best interest, okay? Do not seek relationships with people who have not learned what boundaries are, who do not respect what boundaries are, who always look for a way around doing the work, a way around putting in the effort, a way around being legit and authentic about what they represent. Do not seek people who do that, because they will find shortcuts, dips, and potholes to get into your heart, into your mind, into your life without doing the work, okay? People always show you what they're about and who they are, but we always make a choice whether we stay, we deal, or we dip. Stay, deal, or dip, okay? We all have choices. Don't tell me you don't have a choice. Some people live by survival. Some people live by serving others and being their best selves. You got to figure out who you dealing with. The third thing about ego is you can possibly be with or seek out someone who has enablement issues, meaning they have always been around people, family, friends, an environment that enables them to be an adult, that puts a pacifier in their mouth about life. They don't have to figure out how to make their own money. They don't have to cook for themselves. They don't have to figure out how they're going to pay their bills. They don't have to figure out how they're going to pay for their debts. They don't have to figure out how they're going to get clothes. They don't have to figure out who's going to pay their phone bill because they always have somebody to pay it. They don't have to figure out how their dirty clothes are going to get washed because somebody's washing it, okay? When you seek out people who have an ego issue and they become that project for you, you're going to be in a relationship where you're going to get exhausted, you're going to get tired, and then when that relationship ends, because it will end, because one day you are going to get sick of it and you're going to dip, or they're going to dip on you because somebody else is making their life a lot easier than you are, you're going to be bitter. And the person that does come in your life that deserves all the effort you've been pouring into the wrong one is going to wonder why you're not pouring into them. They're going to wonder why you're holding back. They're going to wonder why you're not putting in 110% effort with them when they're loving you with all their might and they're providing you a safe space and a loving relationship to grow, and you're just stuck. You're stuck on being mad. You're stuck on being bitter about the time you wasted, about the money you spent, about the opportunities you let pass because you were pouring all your effort into someone who was not humble, who did not have boundaries, and had enablement issues. Do not go for projects that are ego projects, okay? So we went over self-care and we went over ego. Let's get into financial, all right? Financial projects are people who have no clue about saving. They don't want to learn. They are given resources. They know what the resources is. They have Wi-Fi and they're still struggling on saving, okay? That's a choice. Once you are given resources, opportunities, and space to learn, and you don't teach yourself and you don't seek that knowledge, you're making a choice not to know. People that have a lot of debt but ignore their debt. They're not aware of how much they owe. They just know, yeah, I might owe somebody. I don't care. I'm about spending this money. And they swiping like Dora never says swipe or no swiping. They spend the money that's not theirs and they have no clue on how they're going to pay it back. They're ready to get a $500 car note off the lot with their horrible credit because they don't have an understanding of how credit works. They don't have an understanding of what good standing credit is. They have this illusion that one day I'm going to pay it back. And they're well into their 30s and they're well into their 40s. That's a project. You are seeking someone who told you, yeah, I suck at saving, period. Not, yes, I suck at saving. I'm trying to learn how to save. I'm in this class. I have a financial advisor at my bank. I'm reading up on, these types of savings accounts. I'm reading up on what, having a savings account with a high interest growth can do as far as like growing my money. I've been reading up on stocks and shares and trying to see how that works. Maybe that's something I'll do instead of just having my money sit in the bank. People that are not taking the steps to change their situation are also projects. People that just swipe credit cards, get credit cards, want a credit card, won't cut up a credit card, don't know how to pay off a credit card, but they need a credit card. That's an issue, okay? If you spent the last 5 years saving and controlling your debt, getting rid of debt, Why would you go into a relationship with someone that hasn't even started? Doesn't want to start, don't care about starting. That's just a problem they got. Why would you want to join into that? You already graduated from that lifestyle. That's not for you no more. Okay? And the way that you find out these things is you observe. You take the time to get to know somebody before you throw yourself into their life in a serious way. You don't move in with people all willy-nilly. You don't look at the outside of them and think they have it all together. You got to observe. You got to sit back. You got to get that thing time. You got to treat people like oxtails, honey. You got to see, from what cloth they were cut. Where are you from? Where are your parents from? What was it like growing up in XYZ? Do you have any siblings? What do they do? What are your aspirations like? What is your passion? What do you love to do? What is a day in your life like? How much free time do you have? That's a big red flag. If someone has too much free time at a certain age and they don't own a business and they don't have, other means of income coming in without them doing work, manual labor, you need to be aware of, how are you financially living right now? What is your credit like? Do you even know what credit is? Have you ever had a bankruptcy? Do you know anyone that's good with, IRAs? Do you have an IRA? Are you into 401ks? How long have you been at your job? Like, you can't throw yourself in a relationship after your 30s or after you're 30 thinking, oh, everybody's about to have it all together, because they not. It's a lot of 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and 50-year-olds that refuse to budget because that's just something that doesn't work for them, quote unquote. If you have X amount of money coming in and there's no more coming in and you have needs that need to be met, what are you going to do? A sane person is going to start subtracting by the priorities that need to be paid. And then they're mentally going to see if what they're doing right now is cutting it. If what they're doing for money is not cutting it, they have to figure out another means of making money. There is no money fairy that's coming into adult life paying off bills. And if there is, let me know. Okay? We're not picking up financial projects. Know this, I am not talking about married couples that had a job, lost a job. Now you got to work on your resume that should be always updated. I want to say every 2 months you should be updating your resume. You never know. If you lost your job and you have kids, you have a house, you have cars, you have insurance that needs to be paid, you have phone bills that need to be paid, you have multiple kids, you got to figure out how they're going to eat. I'm not talking about y'all. Y'all supposed to be, in it together. Y'all supposed to be pouring into each other. You can be each other's project because you were at a stable place at one time. You were able to do it at one time. Now you just, in a brand new layer of your marriage, and you have to figure it out together because you already made the union and the commitment to be together. You already have the family setup that you need to maintain. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about single people purposely out here with the freedoms to choose that are picking financial projects, ego projects, self-care projects. If you did the right questioning and the right observing, you would know who you was dealing with before you agreed to deal with them for real, for real. You would know. But a part of people is the ease and the freedom that's temporary of bliss, ignorant bliss of not knowing. That not knowing, that I don't want to know, that I don't need to know. I just need to get this from them. I'm just looking for this feel right now. I just want to Netflix and chill. It's going to have you fucked up. It's going to have you fucked up. So just be mindful. Just be mindful of what you're pouring into. The next project is superficial project. This superficial project can go for men and women because there's a lot of males out here that like to be pretty but don't have the money. There's a lot of males out here that got auntie on the lease of the vehicle, but they driving around in the fancy car and the rims looking to pick up the ladies. But then, they miss making a payment to auntie on time, and they woke up and their vehicle is now gone out the parking lot of their apartments, and they don't know where their vehicle is, and they had all their goodies in it that they made sure they paid for. They made sure they paid for the goodies in the car, but they refused to make sure they can make the payment on the vehicle that they can't afford. Superficial. Ooh, she's so cute. She's so fine. That's a bad bitch right there, Tiny waist, big booty, big titties. She got the lashes. She got the weave. Her nails done. Toes done. Suckables, okay? This woman is head to toe suckable, right? But she ain't paying her rent. She don't know when her kids gonna eat. She ain't paid their daycare. She don't know if she got diapers. She don't know if she got toilet paper. She in a house or apartment with her mattress on the floor. She more concerned with going to club on Friday instead of doing overtime at work. She just out here living a kind of way that don't make no sense. It's very superficial, very surface-like, okay? And we have to make sure that when we come across women like this, we don't get so stuck on stupid, okay? When they are more concerned with things that you have, that you got. Don't know how you got it, but you got it. And it looks good to them, so they keep interest. When, men got nice watches, something covering their real teeth, nice shoes, nice clothes, a nice ride, don't know whose ride it is, ain't seen no paperwork, they smell good, don't know if they bought the cologne or they stole it, When you meet a man or a woman and they're so stuck on things and you start to talk to them and they can't hold a conversation, they can't look you in the eye, they get really fidgety. They are very stuck on having a good time, not creating a good life. That's that superficial project. That's that superficial project that men and women be looking at, texting, calling, taking out on dates because they look good, that arm candy and shit, but they don't have no sense up top. They can't put one and one together to make two. They struggling, but they look good. They have no attributes. They bring nothing to the table but their bodies. But they smell nice. They look good. When people see them with me, they must think I'm somebody. Because they look good. They can't talk to them because they don't make enough money. They can't talk to them. They can't be in a room with them because they're just not attracted to people like that. They attracted to me, though. People who are living on invisible kingdoms. When I say invisible kingdoms, I'm talking about they feel like because of how they look and what they have and where they live, they should be treated as kings and queens and princesses because my daddy treats me like that. Or you should treat me like a king because my mom, still comes to my apartment and she washes my clothes, and my mom still pays for my apartment, and my mom pays for my car, and my dad bought my car, and it's a fancy car, and you can't afford this car, so you must be lucky that I'm even talking to you. That shit, that invisible kingdom shit, please avoid. It's one thing to be given nice things and you have a great mentality and you appreciate it, you respect it, you don't put it on blast, and you know what it is to work in the world, and you know what it is to prioritize the opportunities that you're given. And it's another thing to walk around this earth feeling entitled to the shit you didn't work for. Invisible kingdoms. Okay? I'm not saying don't have confidence. I'm saying have that confidence. But please remember that this was given to you, not worked for, not paid for by you. There's a difference. Okay? Many people struggle with that. And we got to make sure we remind people all the time what it really is. I got 2 more projects that you need to watch out for, but let's get into this message. The next project category is priorities project. The priorities project is the person that's still struggling on understanding how bills work, how you're not supposed to pay your credit card on the day that it's due. You're supposed to pay it before it's due. Okay, preferably in full for what you spent. How that shows up, they don't understand that, if you can't pay this bill by the due date given, you can always, sometimes depending on what bill it is, call in or go online and put in a payment arrangement to pay it at a later date in full. You can get ahead of the issue before the issue comes to you. If you meet someone who doesn't understand those basics when it comes to bills, you're going to have an issue when you guys are already living in an apartment or living in a house, especially when you have kids involved. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone that you have kids with while you're teaching them the same things you got to teach your kids. That's very frustrating. You're going to get bitter of this person and the situation, and it's just not going to be good for you. Learn that before you guys make big draws moves. Big draws moves is like getting an apartment together. Both of you is on the lease. Getting a house together. Both of you is on the deed. Giving someone large sums of money each month to pay the mortgage. But instead of paying the mortgage, they've been paying minor bills within the household that they're not paying the mortgage for. And then you find out later that your house is in foreclosure because it hasn't been paid in months. You have to do the work before you get the big shit. The big shit is reserved for people who do the real work. Okay? So, when it comes to priority projects, it's people who struggle with bills, people who struggle with knowing what's a need versus a want, people who struggle with knowing what's the difference between a home versus a place that they're just at, people who struggle with knowing the benefits and the leeway between paying rent for somewhere and ownership. Okay? Stop picking up these projects. Okay? These projects can stay on your record as far as your credit for years. Okay? These are big problems that even if the person leaves you, their shit stain of what they left is still showing years after you left that relationship. Okay? You don't want to be evicted and have an eviction on your record because your girlfriend or your boyfriend at the time wouldn't help you with rent, wouldn't help you with the mortgage, was being childish, wouldn't pay their bills on time. You don't want that on your credit. You don't want that dragging around behind you everywhere that you go. You don't want that dragging into your new marriage. You don't want that dragging into your new relationship. You just don't. Okay? You want to be with a person that understands the do's and don'ts of paying bills. You want to be with someone that understands, hey, going to Six Flags versus paying my car note that comes up every month on time is more important than me going to Six Flags. You want to be with a person that knows that, hey, I want to go on vacation. I feel like I deserve a vacation because I've been working. Cool. I feel like everybody should take a vacation at least twice a year. That works. That's fair. But in order to take that vacation, you must put in more work than usual so you can be comfortable on that vacation. And you need to make sure that all of your priorities, meaning things you need to do for the welfare of how you're living and your health and the health of others, if you have children or parents, needs to be taken care of first. You take care of that first. That way, when you come back from vacation, whether it was 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, you're not trying to catch up so bad from all the money and the time that you wasn't at work, that you lost. Okay? You want to make sure your rent or your mortgage is paid before you go on vacation. So you don't have to think about, man, what do I have to pay after I get home? While you on vacation? You want to be there in the moment. You want your mind to be there in the moment. You don't want to be worried about how much money you have left in your account to make it through the week of work before you get your paycheck. Not the following week that you starving, but the next week. You have to be with a person that understands that. That type of thinking and non-thinking is for 20-year-olds that have the benefit of still trying to find out how the fuck life works still. You can't be doing no dumb shit like that in your late 20s, in your 30s, and in your 40s. I don't want to be having a discussion while I'm at the pool trying to soak up the sun across water on the vacation with my husband talking about, why didn't you transfer the money to this account to pay for the mortgage? We've been out here spending and swiping like nobody's business, as if the bills are paid, and now you telling me that you don't have it while you at the pool and your kids is having a fucking blast in the pool, in the kiddie pool. They're having a blast. Now you got to walk around with the stank face because your partner, quote unquote, the person you chose to be in this commitment, this family with, is dropping the ball because they don't know the difference between needs and wants. You have to choose people who understand the fundamentals of what life is, just like you do. Don't pick projects. People who don't understand the difference between wants and needs are projects to me now, because I already understand the difference between a want and a need. I know now that my rent needs to be paid well before the day that it's due. I know my rent needs to be paid before I go shopping for things in the place that I rent. I know that. So I need to be with someone that understands that already. So I don't have to have the headache that is unnecessary to convince a person that doesn't understand why that is a need and not a want. You get it? Y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all get what I'm saying. Knowing the difference between a home and a place. Choose a person that knows the difference between oh man, I got the money for this apartment right now. No, I don't know where I'm getting money in the next couple of months, but since I have the deposit now and I have the money for the rent now, I'm going to just go ahead and hop on and get this apartment for the next year. Okay. So once we move into this apartment from having nothing, from moving out of friends' houses or our parents' house, how are we going to furnish this apartment? Oh, I don't know. We're going to figure that out when we get there. Okay. Have you ever had utilities in your name? No. Have you? No. How are we going to get utilities turned on in our new apartment? I don't know. Don't worry about it. We're going to get to it. That requires a deposit if you have no credit. Just to let y'all know. On top of turning it on and shit. How are we going to pay for the electricity in the place if we've never had a utility in our name? Don't worry about it. We're going to deal with that when we get to it. Make sure y'all bring candles and matches. Like, the little shit. Okay? Just because you can buy a home, because you have the money enough to buy a home, doesn't mean you can buy a home or you should buy a home. Owning a home, having a place that you're renting it's a big decision, because messing up while you sign contracts and you have obligations, again, can follow you around for decades on your record. And you would want to make sure you can afford it. You want to make sure you can take care of it. You want to make sure if anything goes wrong, you have the means to fix it. You want to make sure you can maintain it. You want to make sure if you own a house, you have the insurance to cover fixing the roof if there's a hole or a leak. You want to make sure if your house floods, you have some protection or money set aside for emergencies, at least 6 months, to go ahead and cover that. You want to make sure your home insurance will cover your family being at a hotel if it's a mold issue or a flooding issue or a natural disaster, meaning you can't even tell or prepare if it's coming. But the only thing you can do is make sure you have some good home insurance or renter's insurance. A lot of people got apartments, got houses that they're renting and no renter's insurance. And then when something goes wrong, they want to look for someone to blame or a quick way to get some money so they can get back. So they can get that back. When I tell you, it does you no favors to get with someone that is a project in a relationship when it comes to knowing the difference between being at home and having a place. Having a place is like 4 people roommating together under someone else that's really paying attention about the real bills. Under someone else that's really taking care of the real bills and doesn't mind if somebody doesn't pay the rent or is short with the rent or just coming in to squat and stay for a few weeks because they have no place to go. Having a place is like, yeah, I've been sleeping on my friend's couch for the last 2 weeks until I figure out, what I'm going to do, and they're okay with it. You got a place. And when you have a place, you can't be inviting friends over that don't live there, that don't pay bills there. You can't be inviting guests over that don't live there and don't pay there, because it's not your shit. Out of respect, you just don't do it. Okay? But again, you want to get someone in a relationship that understands that that's a don't do. A do and a don't do, okay? There's a difference between a home and a place. A home is something like what I have. I rent, but I have things in here that I care about. I have pictures. I have art on the wall. I have things that feel good, things that smell good. I have great thread count sheets on my bed. Why? Because I care about my sleep. I have air purifiers in my house. I change my filter every 2.5 months. I wash my clothes because I care about my clothes. They smell good. I take a bath every day. I make sure my bathroom is clean. I make sure my kitchen is clean. I make sure the food that I eat is healthy. I take care of the items in my house that I pay for, that I bought. That I have plants in my house that I take care of, not because I have to, but because I want to. And I want plants in my home that allow my home to have good oxygen for my kids and myself to breathe. Like, that is a home. Now, if I wanted to make this place a place, I would just make sure I could pay the rent. I would just never run my AC. I would barely ever turn on my light because I don't want to pay for the electricity. I would never have my TV on. I would just make sure I pay my phone bill and watch TV from my phone and use the internet from my phone. I want to have any Wi-Fi. I'll probably be trying to log into my neighbor's Wi-Fi because I don't want to pay for that. I would have no bed. Probably out in here creating pallets just because I don't want to pay for the bed because that's a big purchase. But I probably have all the fly sneakers around my room. I probably have one washcloth, one towel, and nothing like as far as like cleansing as a face wash. I probably have one easy replaceable toothbrush and a little tube of toothpaste that I took from my friend's house because I don't want to buy toothpaste. I don't need to buy toothpaste. I could just use this. And I probably won't have any Q-tips because I don't clean my ears. Can't tell you the last time I cleaned my ears. I won't have any food in my fridge, just condiments and fast food that I bought throughout the week. Let me smell this. It's probably still good. That shit, that's having a place versus a home. Okay? Be with someone that knows the difference, not someone that's struggling to figure out, well, what you mean? Project. That's a project, okay? You have no time for projects if you understand the difference. Rent versus ownership. Rent versus ownership. I understand that it's smarter to own versus renting, especially here in Georgia, because you could get a good amount of property for a good price. Right now is a good time to be buying property and space in Georgia because the prices is going up because it's no longer a secret. So I understand that, right? I'm just not sure about if I want to buy a house in the city that I'm living in currently and what I would want in my house completely because that's ever changing. And what school district, because I have kids, would be the best for my children. So I have things to think about. In the time where I had to move from the last house I had, I've only rented houses because I have kids and I think kids should not be raised in an apartment. They need room, they need yard, they need all of that. So, the last house that I rented, they sold it to another property company in California. And my house is in the city of Atlanta. And the old people that had the house wanted to raise the rent without any updates. And I was like, no, I'm not paying that rent. So I was like, okay, well, I guess you're going to move out. And I was like, yeah. So I looked for another house. Went house searching for like 3 months, found something, packed up, got all set to move and everything. And then the new people that, a week before I was supposed to move, the new people that purchased the house out of California was like, hey, we're such and such, and we're going to be the new landlords, blah, 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 blah. Did you want to stay? If I could have stayed at the same price I was paying for rent with that 3-bedroom, 2-bath, front and backyard, I would have stayed. But I was so pissed that they told me at the last minute if I wanted to stay there. I was like, no, I'm not staying. I already found a place. But if I had stayed, I wouldn't have to do the extra paying of the move, the extra paying of deposits, the extra time and effort with moving and filling the moving truck up with 2 kids and changing schools and changing doctor office. All of that shit could be avoided if I just found a house, had the right down payment, which is about what? If you want to buy a nice size family home, what you need to have about, some people put a down payment on their house with $5,000. But if you ask most loan people, they want you to have at least $13,000, $15,000 for a down payment. I would have to have that set up. And before I moved, I did have at least $12,000, but a situation happened and I had to quit my job at the time because my mothering comes first before a workplace that can easily replace me. So I didn't want to spend all my money on a down payment for a house and not have anything. I didn't feel secure enough. I didn't have enough to make that move, to make that decision. So I decided to find a place and rent. So that is why I'm renting. But the whole goal is to, Chantal, save money, keep your options open, have an emergency fund of at least 6 months. Highly recommended, especially if you have kids, and be able to do a down payment on a home and get a home and put your money into a goddamn house that you can leave to your kids one day, instead of you paying for an apartment that's only benefiting the homeowner because you're always filling up their pockets because they already paid for the house. That shit. Okay, I know the difference, okay? So I would never seek a relationship or seek out a person that does not know the difference between and the benefits between renting and owning a home. I would never seek out a man who doesn't want to own a house. I would never seek out a man that doesn't like kids. Like, you have to know the people you're dealing with before you involve the people into what it is to be in your life, period. The last project category I have is the core. People that have core issues. Core issues are very self-explanatory. The things that the grit of every person on this planet, within them, their character, the thing that will never change. It can evolve, but it's always going to be there. It can be masked temporarily, but it's always going to be there. So, people who are a core project could be people who have shitty standards or no standards or don't know what standards are. And then you might be a person of standards and you're trying to teach while you're in a relationship and the shit is just not clicking. People who are innately selfish but don't see where they're wrong in their decisions, don't see where they're wrong in the treatment of others. They don't see what's wrong with treating their kids one way and then not doing the same for someone else's kids. They don't see favoritism. They're just selfish. They're about themselves. And you're constantly going to have a conversation of, this is why what you're doing is a problem all of the fucking time. If you got time for that project, please, by all means, take on that project. But for me, I don't have patience. I don't have time for a grown adult to understand where in life and in their characteristic and in their personality that they're being selfish. I don't have time for it. I don't have a tolerance for it, and it will not be tolerated. Period. Okay? People who lack faith. Now, I'm not saying because I'm Catholic, you got to be Catholic. I'm not saying because I'm Jehovah's Witness, you need to be Jehovah's Witness. I'm not saying because I believe in Santa, you must believe in Santa. I am saying there has to be a mutual respect, a place where both of you within a relationship can ground yourself and decompress and come to a place of peace together. Okay? I'm not big on religion. I feel like religion is a place where the leader, the herder, herds the sheep. The ones that don't really ask the questions, but they go along because everybody else is going on. That's how I look at religion. Okay? I'm into hearing, learning, comprehending, researching, and figuring it out for myself over a period of time. Now, if you are a devoted Christian, I don't have no problem with that. I think people who are strong and stand up within their faith, whatever their faith is, I feel like that's commendable because you're committing to a way of thinking, a way of being, a way of living that you believe to be right. You were taught, you researched, you worshiped, it works for you, it's your place of peace to be living right. Cool. I like that. I think that's attractive. But if at my core, that is something I do not agree with, I think is a horrible thing to believe in, I would not pursue someone who is deep within a certain faith that I disagree with. I feel like that is very combative. I feel like that is semi-controlling of an individual to do, and I just wouldn't do it. Okay? I'm not taking on that project. Okay? I believe that people should have a place of peace, a place where they ground themselves, a place of meditation, a place of prayer, period. There's always something greater than yourself. The Creator is real. Whether or not you agree upon what his or her name is, that's none of my business. Okay? Focus on you. Be attracted. Be open to the people that pour into themselves. And maybe y'all could come together on one accord. But do not select a project. Okay? Do not select people that you have to convince that will not do the work for themselves. Okay? People on Twitter do it all the time. You say one thing and they're going to come tweet you and be like, where did you get that information? What makes you feel like it's right? Bitch, stop tweeting me and go Google, go read a book. Because your quarrel is not with me, honey. At She Gets It Pod on Twitter, don't come to me with how do you know, where did you get this information? You better Google, okay? You in the wrong web browser. Go to Google. Go to your settings or on your icon list, hit Safari. On Safari is a whole new world. A dazzling place you never knew. Google what the fuck you think you need to Google. But don't ask me because I'm not here to teach. You're not paying me enough. Okay? Some people are open to learning. Some people are open to doing the work for themselves. And some people just aren't. That's just how the fuck that is. Confidence. People who lack confidence within themselves, that's a core issue. If They are in their late 30s, their early 30s, their mid 30s, their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and you're having a confidence issue with someone you really like, you really love, and you really think you see a future with, but you presented them a outlet to go ahead and do the work and they're resistant, acquit, Cochrane that ass, leave it alone, dip, retreat. Don't do it. That is not a project you want to do. That goes into self-care. If they were having a confidence issue, they should have dealt with it a long time ago. You should not, nor should you feel obligated to be another human being's revelation to their shit. That is not your job, okay? Some people tackle other people's shit for fun, like Oprah, and she makes millions of dollars doing that. Unless you're making millions of dollars tackling other people's issues, don't do it. All right. The last the last project is that passion project. That passion project goes into the core. If a person lacks passion, all they want to do is wake up every day, go to work, pay their bills, have a beer, go see their mom, talk to their dad, play cards with their friends. The next day do the same thing. The next day do the same thing. They're looking for a man or a woman to want to do the same things with them and really love them. And cool. If that's what you want to do, cool. Where in there lies your passion? I have no idea. For me, as a creator, as a innovative thinker, as a person of the arts, I could never deal or be with a person that is comfortable in doing and having their everyday be the same shit. I just can't. The thought of it makes me want to throw up. It's just so boring. There is more to life than you getting up, going to a job, waiting for a paycheck, seeing your kids, wearing the same shit, paying the same bills, going to the same store, seeing the same people, eating the same foods, and the next week doing the same thing. There's more to life than that. Nobody on earth can sit and tell me different. The Creator didn't send you to this earth and the time frame that he or she gave you, whatever you believe, to work a job, punch a clock, come home, look at your kids grow before your eyes, and do the same thing every week. He just did it. Everybody has a innate purpose to be on this earth. Everybody has something within them that's always breathing and dying to grow and dying to be nurtured. And if you don't nurture that passion, you are dying while existing. There's a lot of people out here dying while existing. They have a social security number. They have a birth certificate. They are an employee or they're not. And they're just out here. Just here. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't know why they're doing it. They don't know where they're supposed to be. They don't know where they want to go. They're just here. Stop fishing out, looking for people who have potential and are not doing the fucking work. Those are fucking projects. You're supposed to figure out what you're great at by yourself. You're supposed to be nurturing that. You're supposed to be watering that every day. That is your purpose. It is not your purpose just to be on this earth and make babies. It is not your purpose just to be on this earth and skeeting in every female that has a fat pussy to you. It's just not, that's not your purpose. That is not why you're here. You're bigger than that. You're better than that. Everybody has a purpose. It's your duty to figure out what that is and water that shit. Everybody has a passion. Some people are very fearful of what that passion entails, of what work needs to go into that passion. And that's why they just lower their standards, stick to the basics, because that dream just feels a bit too big. That idea just seems a bit too crazy. Everybody has a purpose. Figure out what your purpose is. Figure out who is within their purpose. Figure out how to motivate each other and be with that person. Period. Don't aim for someone doing less than you, willing to do less than you, not interested in doing more. Don't aim for that person and feel like, okay, I could be the one to do a lot and they could be the one to do less and we'll just make it work. No. Someone's going to be bitter. Someone's going to feel empty. Someone is going to be fulfilled and somebody's not going to be fulfilled. The issue is you're not going to know who that person's going to be until you're in that shit, until your years in that shit. Don't do it to yourself, okay? Avoid core projects, avoid superficial projects, avoid ego projects, avoid self-care projects, avoid financial projects, and avoid priority projects. We are out here trying to be better. I'm all about being better. If you didn't know none of this shit, now you know. If you think a friend need to find out, you better send him this link or her. I just want a world of better people. I feel like if the world had better people in it, more honest people in it, then there'll be a lot more people out here focused. There'll be a lot more happier people. People at peace. Less wars. Less greed. There's a lot of people out here faking the funk, don't know shit about shit, don't want to do shit about it either. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and know when you're not ready. Be honest with yourself and know when a person doesn't deserve the project that you're about to bring to their life. Some people live within projects because they just happen to be there. But the key is to work to get yourself out of that project. Because we all can do the work to get ourselves out of that project. We just have to want to enough. And a lot of people don't want to enough to help the next person. And that's why we in a repeated shit circle that we in. Nobody wants to be a project. And nobody should be a project. And nobody should aim to collect projects. Just be better. Thank you for listening to each and every episode this season. We in a weird time. It's a weird fucking time right now. But just be grateful and push through that thing. The doctor tells pregnant women in labor when they get a contraction, which hurts like a bitch, feel like a Mack truck hitting you slow and hard. Each time they tell them to push through the pain. When that contraction starts, you push through the pain. That is life. When it sucks, when shit don't make sense, when you feel like the aura is off, you push through that shit. And when you push through that shit, your blessings are on the other side of it. Push through. I'll meet y'all at season 6. Deuces. That's a wrap. That's another show. Thank you for staying. Thank you for listening. Thank you for checking out She Gets It. There is a merch available for you guys to shop at on teespring.com. The link will be in the info section. She Gets It shop is on there. Also, please don't forget to add me. Follow me on IG and Twitter. She Gets It Pod. All right? Hashtag She Gets It. You'll find me. Trust me. on FB, Facebook. Don't forget to add the page She Gets It Pod. Join the She Gets It affiliates. I would love to have you in there to discuss episodes, discuss thoughts, get that feedback. And please don't forget to rate the episode, rate the show. I just want to know, like, am I going in a direction that you guys, are learning something from? Is it something you want to learn more about? I would love to hear y'all feedback. I love the fact that you guys support and listen to me blab and run my mouth. And if you just want to support the show, go to anchor.fm/SheGetsIt/support. Thank you, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.